How you doing today, John?
Doing good, buddy. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Just finished up doing a 9 holes of golf, so
Okay,
I enjoyed that. You were telling me
that's
that you
fun.
just watched the Cowboys game.
Well, no. I watched the Packers game, green and gold till I'm dead and gold till I'm dead and old or dead and cold. Wow.
Dead blue.
Um. So watched the Packers game, watched them whoop up on the Lions, and then they did bonus coverage of the Cowboys game at Atlanta. And it was a crazy ending. So shout out any Cowboys fans. You guys definitely earned your victory on a crazy final 2 minutes of that game.
Yeah, no, it sounded like a heck of a game. I don't usually go for football, but when it's that close, it's enjoyable to watch.
You got to give it a shot.
Yeah,
So I have to say, first off,
national treasure.
national treasure, huh? No,
You
first
gonna say
off,
what are we
our,
drinking
our
today?
I was gonna say, what are we drinking today? I'm gonna talk about mine first, actually,
Go for it.
because I have something new.
Okay.
So I went out. I invested in a like $40 bottle of rum. This is Kirk and Sweeney Dominican rum, aged 18 years. They also had a 12-year and a 25-year, but the 25-year was like a $60 bottle of rum, and I wasn't willing to go that high. This particular one, was a, let's see, it was batch number 6, bottle 18032. It was let's see, it's type according to the little tag that comes from the U.S. Coast Guard. Which that's kind of cool. Yeah, it literally says U.S. Coast
What
Guard.
was it called again? Can you hear me that?
Kirk and Sweeney.
Kirk and Sweeney's.
The origin was the Dominican Republic. The
Okay.
destination, it was shipped to Long Island, New York. There were 867 cases of rum on this particular shipment, apparently. Um,
Needed to know that. I needed to know that.
it it says type is a sail or schooner. I'm assuming this is like mostly made up, um, like as like
A little creative license, if you will.
yeah, to try to sell it, because it does have a neat little I don't know if you can see it, but it actually has a date stamp on there of
Oh yeah. Yep, I see it.
January 13th, 1924.
Day it was founded, more likely.
And then this tag is a property seizure tag.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh, maybe John, you just bought
um,
a bottle of rum for $40 that was actually from the 1920s. Who knows?
I significantly doubt that,
Had to dust that baby off.
especially because on the bottle itself it says imported and bottled by Three Badge Reserve Beverage in Fairfield, California. So,
Huh. Well,
but
how
it's
is
a
it, John?
product of the Dominican Republic, so
Yeah, this is good.
it's really good. One of the things that's kind of cool about it, I've never had a bottle of rum, and this probably just speaks to the very
Captain.
very mid shelf rum that I buy, that has a true cork in the top.
Oh, yeah.
I also discovered I don't have a corkscrew. So I had to do it the old-fashioned way of I bit the cork and yanked it out with my teeth
Oh man.
and poured myself a drink and then shoved it back in there. So,
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
um, yeah,
I'm surprised it didn't just have a normal
good stuff.
stopper though. Huh.
I very much am too, but it does not. It is a true blue
They,
cork
they really did
that
just jam that one in there.
that's kind of a pain in the butt to get out,
Huh.
but
That's nifty. Well,
it's kind
I'm
of
just
cool. It has their logoing on it, so
yeah, I'm just drinking my Bayou rum. I actually have the bottle here because I finished a drink, so I'll show that up to you.
Bayou.
And you got that alligator
I
on
love
there,
it.
or
That
crocodile
gator rum.
from Louisiana.
Got
Yeah.
them there gators down there in that there bayou.
Okay.
Hmm.
We're not making fun of anyone in Louisiana, but yeah. So national treasure, John.
Did you say natural treasure?
No, national
Oh,
treasure.
very much sounded like you said natural treasure.
Natural
And this
treasure
is
coming to you.
anything
2021.
I mean, yes, I would agree that this movie is a natural treasure for the American people. It
I
is
would say
a
it's a national
wonderful.
treasure. I mean, honestly
It's
though, like
both.
this is one of my favorite movies, and you know, rewatching it again yesterday, I was just like, dang, yeah, this is I just kind of fell in love with the movie all over again.
Honestly, though,
It's been a while since I watched it, so
same. I guess I would have watched it maybe a year or so ago.
okay.
With my job, I sometimes play movies for folks that were at my office.
Oh yeah,
And
right.
this would have been a movie that we would have played just kind of in the background while we were doing some other stuff because like I haven't met anyone that like hates this movie. Like this
Yeah.
movie is pretty well beloved by most everyone. So
Well, I mean,
as far
how
as a good
can
film.
like right away, and when I was watching it again, I was like, man, like right away we just start off with like a hell of a story, and
Yeah.
what Christopher Plummer, right, is the
Oh god, yeah. I love Christopher Plummer
let's
so
see,
much.
John Adam
He
Gates.
plays.
Yep. So
Yep.
he plays young Ben Gates. Obviously, I forgot to write down the young actor's name, but obviously it wasn't Nick Cage. Nick Cage
No.
didn't look like that when he was that young. Let's be honest.
No. No.
But yeah, no, Christopher Plummer from Knives Out, and I was like, man, he looks familiar when I was watching that. So it's funny, that we have that
That's
little
why.
tie-in, huh?
I said, yeah, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like you just watched him. He has it. He's aging well, I have to say. Like
He is.
because that was 2004 was when National Treasure came out, and
Yeah.
damn, like I wouldn't say he really looks like he aged that much at all in almost
No,
20
man,
years.
he's definitely like a fine barrel of rum. I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, no, like the movie just jumps out at you, with this crazy like story of like, yes, we have like this treasure story that's been handed down from our family, the Gates family, from generation to generation, from generation. And then,
What did
now,
they say? Like something like 16 generations of Gates family members, or something like that.
well, I mean, okay,
Or
so
12,
let's try to do the math. So when was the Revolutionary War?
18,
Right.
something.
1800s?
It's not. It wouldn't have been. What is it? Yeah, it would have been the Revolutionary War.
I want to say.
No, Revolutionary War. I'm thinking of the Civil War. I'm stupid. Revolutionary War would have been the 1700s, dude. America was founded in 1776.
Okay. Yep. And Revolution probably. How long did that war
Would
drag?
have kicked off when we just wrote the fucking Declaration of Independence in 1776.
1776.
Because, when we kind of write the king and go, hey, go fuck yourself. He got a little mad.
Right. When we wrote that. And, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, what did you say? 18 generations? That's probably about right.
I said 16 to 12, somewhere in there. They say in the movie.
Yeah.
Like they go, this many generations of gay. So this is right at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
John Voight's character, Benjamin Gates' dad.
Patrick Gates. Yep.
Patrick, yeah. So he has like given up on this idea. And so he comes in pretty hot and heavy from
what do you tell my son?
2 minutes into the movie. Yeah, like stop wasting your time, Dad. This is a myth, Dad. That kind of thing. So he's all pissy about it from the beginning.
Yeah, all pissy about it. But right after that story, we jump right to like the middle of Antarctica or something, right? And they're looking for this boat that's been, encased in ice or whatever for however many years. And the score is amazing. You got this awesome music. You got the weird little snow buggies. I don't know what they would actually be called, so that's what I'm going to roll with right now.
Alrighty.
Yeah, and it's just awesome. And it's like 16 minutes in, it's like, dang, you're already hooked. Like the story's great.
Happens.
Yeah, a lot happens, and I just again fell in love with it, like within that 16 minutes again.
Well, and I mean, I think part of it is just Nicolas Cage's charisma.
Oh my God.
All right, so everybody like Nicolas Cage. You either love the guy or hate the guy.
You love him,
and if you hate the guy, you're lying to yourself, and the only reason you hate him is because you can't believe how much you love him.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Nick Cage
you're lying to yourself.
Is a guy that he just brings so much charisma, no
Mm-hmm.
matter what the movie is. Now, oftentimes brings a little too much charisma. But I honestly like, and maybe at this point it's just become so entrenched, but I really think that was a choice because you have a guy like Nick Cage comes from a family lineage of like Hollywood legacy.
Really?
Um,
I don't
oh
know
yeah,
anything about Nicolas Cage's background.
he's of the Coppola family, like Francis Ford Coppola. His name is Nicholas Kim Coppola. He changed his name. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, he is of the Coppola family.
Okay, okay. So let's dive down this a little bit. The Coppola family. They've been
Yeah,
doing movies for a while, or just hey,
what?
I'm not a movie buff, man.
You don't know like Francis Ford Coppola,
No, it doesn't ring a bell. No.
The Godfather, Apocalypse Now,
Oh, okay.
like a like renowned filmmaker from like
Really?
God, it would have had. He's literally considered one of the greatest filmmakers ever.
So was that his dad then? Nick Cage's dad or
No,
grandfather?
no. Francis Ford Coppola is, I think, is he like his uncle? Here, hold on.
I'm gonna have to like check some of this out. And what I was, like when I was getting my notes down for this movie, Wikipedia.
Sorry, real quick. He's the nephew of Francis Ford Coppola.
That's crazy.
So like there's a whole line of like the Coppola family has been heavily entrenched in Hollywood for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nick Cage comes along, changes his name to Cage.
Did he do that right away? Do you know?
Yeah.
Wow. Because he didn't want to write on the name, probably. Kind of wanted to make his own.
I think so. I think it was a little bit of like he wanted to be his own guy.
That's crazy.
And so he, but he comes out and at an early age, like one of his first movies, wins an Oscar. Like this is an Oscar-winning actor. Like,
honestly,
right away.
I didn't know he won an Oscar. It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, everybody forgets that. Everybody forgets that.
Me,
wins an Oscar for his fantastic portrayal, and fantastic work in the movie. Oh my gosh, how am I blanking on the name of it right now?
Well, go ahead, look it up real quick. The point I was gonna make is, when I was doing my research on the movie and I was kind of diving into the director and the producer and the writers, it just blew me away like that. All these guys had worked on so many other movies together in the past. It wasn't, just National Treasure. It was like a lot of them had worked on Gone in 60 Seconds, or they worked in other movies that Nicolas Cage has started. And I was like, whoa. Like, if you would have told me the same guy for National Treasure wrote the music, or, I guess created the
was
music.
Behind.
Yeah, like for Gone in 60 Seconds and Con Air, I would have been like, what? And I mean, I was like that when I was reading it, right? I was like, that's crazy.
Insane. By the way, Leaving Las Vegas.
Living Las Vegas.
Won an Academy Award for Best Actor in Leaving Las Vegas.
I don't think I've seen that one, to be honest. When did that one come out? Probably like
2000. No, 19.
I was gonna say
1995.
Oh, okay, yeah.
1995. I thought it was like early 2000s.
A year old. I'll leave it to the audience to guess how old I am.
I won't talk about it.
I mean, dude, man, we're young. But yeah, so like the movie just starts out with a bang and a pop, and you have Nicolas Cage bringing so much to the movie, and then you have his partner in kind of crime, we'll say, Riley Poole, played by Justin Bartha, and he just brought that lovable stupidity, to the right. And then what was awesome was actually watching like the bad guy Ian Howe, and then like his sidekicks that were also kind of just dumb. So like right off the way, you got good versus evil, and we're just rolling. We're just going.
Yeah.
There's like no.
Well, and like this is the thing, right? Like they don't tell you really from the jump that Ian Howe is evil.
Right. Right.
Like they're working together, whatever. Obviously, like you can kind of piece it together. Also, though, anybody that knows anything about movies, like the second you see Sean Bean, you're like, oh, he's the bad guy.
Ian Howe.
Because Sean Bean is always the bad guy.
So what other movies is he the bad guy?
The one time he's not is Game of Thrones. Sean Bean is the bad. Oh God, he's the bad guy. Like James. He's been in James Bond. He was a bad guy in that. Like,
Really?
he is. Yeah, like Sean Bean is like he is well known for two things. He almost always plays the villain,
Huh.
and he always dies.
Oh, okay.
Always dies.
Well,
This
yeah.
is literally one of like a literal handful of films. Spoiler alert.
That he doesn't.
That he does not die in because, you know, shocker, it's a Disney movie, so they didn't exactly
Right.
it's a 2000s Disney movie, so they didn't exactly want to, you know,
Right.
kill him.
On that note, though, is you know, Ben Gates, his mom, alive?
Good question. They kind of indicate not.
Well, you know, or they, you know, maybe she left her dad or their dad, you know, Patrick.
Because of chasing the thing.
Maybe that's why and that could be speculation, but maybe that's why he's so, you know, upset about the story and like the treasure.
Probably
lost his wife.
Or maybe she died while they were out chasing this treasure down.
Oh snap! Yeah, that could be it too.
Here's the thing. I think we might get the answer to that.
Oh.
In National Treasure 3.
We're just jumping right there, yeah. Because that's going to be...
Yeah, we're going to jump
They're working on it, right? From what I was reading.
They're working on it. So I think that's when... I really do think they'll drag that up there.
That would be cool to know. I would like to see that. But I mean, you know, even in that, like, you know, the beginning factor there, like, I mean, you quickly find out that Ian is the bad guy because all of a sudden he's like, well...
Because he's Sean Bean.
Yeah. Well, the treasure isn't on the ship. I thought you said the treasure was going to be on the ship. And, you know, Nick Cage is like, well, no. I said it might be on the ship.
Right.
Technicality, right? But then, you know, he's all upset and they're surrounded by black powder. And
which I got to say, great. Like, I get it. Great little... Like, it's Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
But... So you're telling me that this black gunpowder that's been sitting under the ice since, what, the Revolutionary War?
The 1700s, right?
Still fires up? Like,
right? Not only does it fire up,
new.
I mean, this is like one of my gripes about the movie too, though. And like, you know, again, I get it. They're trying to, you know, draw you in with this big action-packed scene, right? But yeah, not only is it still good, but it literally blows the whole ship completely away. Like, when they emerge, you know, because they find the cool little trap door or whatever in the bottom.
Smuggler's hole.
The smuggler's hole, right? They find that. And, of course, you know, Ben Gates knows that there's obviously a smuggler's hole somewhere because his character is, like, crazy. Right? Exactly.
He knows everything about history.
Right.
In America, the only place that matters. No.
Well, and I'm going to bring up some other stuff, too, that I caught, you know, in the movie because I was watching it and I was kind of paying attention. And there's some other cool stuff that I noticed. But this ship completely was like blown up. There was nothing left. What the heck? Like, like what? There's no way.
From a couple centuries old
barrels of gunpowder
that have been sitting in ice.
Ice. Yep. Exactly. But something that I really, and kind of getting to the point of the other cool moments that I noticed in the movie. Did you happen to like notice like the way they kind of just kept pushing the story along with the little hints? As you were going through, there was always like something was leading to the next scene. If you were like wise enough to catch it.
Like, okay, well, what do you mean? Like,
well, okay, so you know, like later on,
like
you know,
my immediate reaction to you saying that is, well, yeah, it's a treasure hunt.
Well, yeah, it's a treasure hunt, but like, okay, so obviously the secret lies with Charlotte is the first clue, right? And that's the ship that ends up getting blown up. They find this pipe, and then it's like, okay, so Ben Gates does his, you know, cool little trippy, gotta follow the clues, right? Okay, so there's a map. It's on the back of the Declaration of Independence. Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys, if you haven't seen the movie. Definitely need to go watch it. Anyway.
It's almost 2 decades old. If you haven't seen it, it's your fault.
If you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it right now. Just stop this podcast, stop this video, whatever, and go watch it right now. And then come back and then listen. But so obviously that leads them to like, okay, so we have to go, you know, warn someone that, you know, Ian is going to steal the Declaration of Independence. Yeah. So, like, as they were waiting in, because they already went to the FBI, they went to the Homeland Security, and no one was listening to them. So finally they end
Of
up.
course not. Like, come on.
I mean, yeah. Well, and like
Come on.
the best part about that too is like, as they're sitting down speaking with Dr. Abigail Chase, played by Diane Kruger.
Had such a crush on her back
Oh my
in the
god!
day. Still do.
Okay,
Like,
we're
I
gonna go
watched
into
the
that in a
movie.
second.
And was like,
I got to hear
her.
more about that in a second. As they're sitting down, like and Ben is telling okay, so we think there's a choreograph, and then she's like, a map, and he's like,
A
yes,
cardiograph.
cardiograph. Sorry, thank you.
Choreograph is what musical theater does.
Right. That's on the back of the Declaration of Independence. And then, it's like, okay. And then she's like, but I've personally seen the Declaration of Independence, and I can promise you there isn't a map. And, he's like, okay, so it's invisible. And then it's like, Riley speaks up and he's like, and that's where we lost Homeland Security.
Homeland Security.
But segueing back to the original point that I was wanting to make, as they were sitting down, waiting to speak with Dr. Abigail Chase.
Yeah.
Ben actually picked up a brochure to the gala. Yeah. And that leads you to the gala, obviously. And then, in the office, he notices that Abigail was missing a specific button. And that, obviously leads you to the other stuff in the movie. And there's just a whole bunch of other things that I thought was like, dang, this was great storytelling, obviously from the writer's perspective, but just also the filmmaking and the cinematography and the production that went into the movie. I mean, I loved it.
No, absolutely. It's a very well done film. It just like the mystery that we're kind of following for the treasure. Right. The film itself, like, it continually builds on top of these seemingly small details that really matter.
Right.
So,
and it almost is kind of like, I could maybe believe it as you kind of go along. Maybe there is a map on the back of the Declaration of Independence. Probably not, and we're not obviously advocating that any of you go out and try to find that out for yourselves.
No, that will cause some real problems.
Yes. You didn't hear it from us, so if those are decisions you made on your own.
Yeah. Obviously, like, everybody knows, and it's because it's like what really gets us started. Like, the movie starts off and like it hits you right with the action, but like the primary like mover of the plot, right, is the Declaration of Independence. Mm-hmm. So I'd be remiss if I didn't nerd out a little bit here.
Please do.
About the Declaration of Independence.
Before we talk about your crush on Diane Kruger.
Great. Fell in love with her again watching it. Anyway. So when was the Declaration of Independence signed?
I believe you said like 1776, 74.
You really can't give me like what is.
I really suck,
Dustin,
at American history. I'm more into like engineering and physics.
What
and stuff like that.
What is the day that we all celebrate in July?
July 4th.
Right.
But
so,
go ahead, keep going.
No. Ask your question.
Well, I was going to say the one thing that I thought is that wasn't actually the day that the Declaration of Independence was signed. Correct.
Yeah. Correct. It didn't actually get signed until August 2nd.
Whoop, whoop.
So,
in
fact, the Declaration actually wasn't even fully adopted until July 9th.
By everyone.
Because New York, their delegates wouldn't support it at first.
So what's
because they couldn't.
Right. So how did we end up? So why did we? I guess why did we?
Why is July 4th the day?
Exactly. Yes.
July 4th is the day that essentially that like everyone agreed to it. They just didn't formalize it.
Okay.
So everyone was like, "Yeah, this is it right here. We got it." All right, now we got to do all the formalization and things like that.
Right, all the other stuff.
Yeah, and a few people did sign on July 4th. Most people didn't sign until this August 2nd. Some of which because some people had been like, "All right, I got to head out. Like, got to go back."
Yeah, I'm gonna know about
whatever.
it right And tying that back into the movie though, there's so many awesome little like history trivia bits throughout the movie
Yeah.
that are actually accurate. It
Absolutely.
wasn't kind of made up.
No.
I will say though, later on, when he's looking at the $100 bill, I don't think that time is actually accurate anymore.
Yes, it is. Not anymore.
Right.
At the time of filming, though, it was.
Yeah, and what was it, like something 22?
222.
222, right. And then later on, I think it got moved to 230 from what I was reading. And I don't know what it is now.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But, and that led to like
a lot of $100
conspiracy theorists, like...
Of course, right?
Right.
Yeah, no. A couple other quick things here. Fun fact, there's been, like, since getting enshrined, and the, like, where it's at, the Declaration has one time in its history had to be moved, and nobody said anything about it.
What?
I think it was
Do you remember when this was?
Oh God, I'd
like rough.
I'm digging back here. I want to say it was when they burned the White House down.
Oh, okay.
The White House down.
Okay, so a long time ago.
So like an attack occurred, or maybe no. I'm sorry, I'm way off. I think it was actually, this is gonna sound horrible. It was either Pearl Harbor or 9/11.
Okay.
I think I'd have to look it up. Go out, look it up, listeners.
Yeah.
But basically, what happened was they got scared because like an attack was happening, and they're like, "Shit! Well, as the world's gonna end,
like if we're being attacked or whatever, we should probably
if we're being attacked, then we're gonna make sure to protect these documents because their thought process literally was, we're gonna protect these documents because if they have to start over again,
we need this.
Like we want them to have the framework for the country."
Okay.
And so that's what they did. They snuck it out through some secret tunnels and like put it in, snuck it to a military base and a military fort, and had it there for like a long time and just didn't tell anybody. Because they didn't want anyone to know. So
kind of disappeared.
So yeah, like the founding documents for the country were like conspicuously missing for a little while.
You know what?
And literally like 6 people knew where it was at.
That's crazy.
And they were like, we're just not going to mention it in case something goes wrong.
Did anyone else realize that it was gone, or did they have a dummy one in place, you think?
I don't remember. I think they just didn't talk about it. Like they just were like, nobody can go look at it right now.
Oh, okay. That's hilarious because even in the movie, after... this whole show is going to be filled with spoilers because the movie is so old, and I mean we're just talking about through the story. Even after
I earlier said it's almost 2 decades, I realized
exactly.
I was thinking of the wrong thing. It's only like a decade, like 12 years old, 13 years old. It came out in 2007.
No, it came out in 2004. Yeah,
I thought it was 2007. Was it the sequel that came out in 2007?
Oh, that could
be the sequel that came out in 2007.
National Treasure.
So yes, National Treasure was 2004.
Yeah, it's almost 20 years old. It's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. It's like, and thinking about how young I would have been when I was watching this. Anyway, it's crazy. But even after they steal the Declaration of Independence, and they're talking about, okay, what are we going to do? And he's like, well, do we have, I guess, a fake copy or a copy, up.
Something we can put up there. Yeah.
Yeah. So like even then they, like to make sure no one knew what was going on, they put a fake.
Here's something I gotta say though. On that scene, and a lot of people have addressed this on the internet, so it's not like this is a new thought. I've been to the National Archives. I've had the privilege of seeing the Declaration. I've had the privilege of seeing the Constitution. Absolutely awe-inspiring. Even at the time of filming, the way they end up getting the Declaration like taken to
I guess the safe room or the check room.
The safe room that it's put in, wouldn't be possible because they don't allow cameras in the room where the documents are.
Oh, really?
Because they used to.
Then they saw this movie. No.
No, they used to, but because of how, like, you got to remember, these are literally hundreds of years old,
Yep.
and the flashes from cameras was
Oh,
fading the ink
right.
faster. So they were like, all right,
Yeah.
no more cameras, not even video recordings, like
They don't even
nothing.
allow video recordings.
No,
Huh.
because they don't want you to risk
Flashing.
anything that could be additional exposure to those documents that could
Yep.
damage them further than they already are.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And like,
So, hate to say it, movie's over from the jump because factually they would never be able to get that camera with a little laser light in there.
and that was at the time, right? Well, and that's awesome too. I mean, that sucks that couldn't have actually happened, right? But like the way that they kind of like break out this plan, to steal the Declaration of Independence was great. And of course, Riley was the Debbie Downer, if you will, right?
Always, always.
Right. They
So
go
he
to
does
the
the whole movie.
Library of Congress, right? That's where like they go.
They
and
do.
It's like, look, okay, let me just explain something to you, like, and then he lays out all of the facts of like how we can't steal the
This
Declaration,
isn't gonna work.
right?
Yeah.
And then of course, Nick Cage rips out that brochure for the galley, and he's like, well, let me tell you.
I've been to the Library of Congress as well. Fantastic place.
Man,
you can get a great
I've
library
been to
card.
DC, but I don't think I got to see any of that stuff.
Oh man, I've been to all kinds of history stuff in DC. Love it. There's a Chinese. Sorry, quick sidebar. There's a Chinese place in Chinatown in DC that is my favorite Chinese place called the Walk and Roll.
I'm sorry. There's a Chinese place in Chinatown.
Yeah, there is. It's called the Walk and Roll. They do karaoke night and like $4 vodka somethings.
Oh, wow. That's not bad.
But it's actually in the building where ambassadors sat down and negotiated out the Cold War.
No shit.
While not all of it, obviously, because the Cold War was kind of this really long thing. But that was a place that ambassadors would go and sit in this building, and they were negotiating the Cold War. So there's a plaque there. It's called the.
Do they have any pictures from that, or no?
No, this Chinese. Other than the plaque, this Chinese place is just like, no, this is ours now. What do you want? Egg rolls?
Egg roll or crab ragoon?
You want some vodka shots and do some karaoke at 8:00? But I've eaten there. It's good morning? Chinese. No, but it's a great place. And it's just really cool to be like, man, this is where some of them these people were deciding the lives of people. So DC has a lot of history. Everybody knows that.
And you said
anyway,
that was
been to the Library of Congress. Walk and Roll.
Okay, so if you're in DC, hit it up.
Go to the Walk and Roll.
John says it's the best. It's the bomb.
I didn't say it's the best. I said it's good Chinese. It's got great historical value though. Okay. When they're in the Library of Congress, again, I've been there. You can get a library card. It's really cool. Mm-hmm. I think we were still in college whenever I went, so I was able to get a free library card. That's cool. You can get one if you're not in college, but you got to pay for it. And what that does is that actually lets you go into. There's a part of the Library of Congress that is restricted access, unless you have a library card.
Unless you have a library card.
Because
I'm sure there's probably some other areas, right?
Well, a lot of people don't realize with the colleges in Arlington and DC area, a lot of those students, probably less so now because of the internet, but legitimately for a long time would go to the Library of Congress, and that's where they would do research. And that's where, that's where law students would go. People would go there and do this research there. So, but I say all that to say this. I don't know for certain. Maybe it is there. But I just have a really good feeling that the Library of Congress is not going to let just anybody, and by just anybody, I mean anybody that's not, a high-ranking government official, go grab the blueprints for the National Archives. Go grab the blueprints for the documents that... the cases, the documents are stored again.
Yep.
All things I'm willing to forgive because I enjoy the movie, but I'm like, I don't think so.
To be the devil's advocate, that stuff might be public record. It might be.
Some of it maybe, but
Yeah. I
I
don't
doubt
know.
all of it.
Along those lines though, like how much, and like I was thinking about this too when they, are visiting other monuments, right? And they're
Yeah,
filming all this. Like, do you
yeah.
think they had to like pay, or because obviously they had to probably block all that off for like the day, right? So they could film all this, or how do you think they
So,
went about doing that?
well, so it depends on where they were at. So some of
Mm-hmm.
the stuff, they actually went to. Some of
Mm-hmm.
the stuff, they built their own set for.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Some of the stuff they use, like the church at the end of the film,
Mm-hmm.
that they go into is actually a church in L.A. Yeah. So,
Nice.
um, one of the cool things though about some of the historical places they go, and then I do want to backtrack a little bit and go back to where they're
Yeah.
planning, doing the planning phase to steal stuff, but um, they were the first film crew that was allowed to go in and film inside of Independence Hall. So that where the Liberty Bell is.
Yep. Okay. See,
Um,
I thought they, and I was gonna say this, but maybe I read it wrong and maybe I misinterpreted it. I
you
thought they
probably
actually
didn't.
built that. I thought they built that set.
So they were
Okay.
allowed to go in and film.
Uh
They
huh.
couldn't get all of the scenes done in the time they were allotted. So then, I believe, based off of their filming, they built a brick for brick
Right.
recreation of Independence Hall to film in.
To finish. That's
Yeah, to
crazy.
finish what they were doing. Yeah.
Something that I should have done is I should have looked at the budget of this film. That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah. I mean, we
Um,
can pull that up while we're doing
brick
this
for
at some
brick.
point.
Yeah. So, well, why don't you go ahead and talk about? You wanted to go back to they're doing the research in the Library of Congress, right?
Yeah, so they're doing the research, whatever.
Yep.
I'm actually gonna, so they make the plan. We're gonna steal the Declaration of Independence. Here's how we're gonna do it. We're gonna do this gala. At the same time, the film's kind of intercutting every now and then to show us Ian Howe.
Yep.
Which, quick fun fact about Ian Howe: we know that all of the Gates family are named after founding fathers and stuff, right?
Right.
Benjamin Franklin Gates,
Oh,
all that.
honestly, I
Ian
didn't catch
Howe,
that. I didn't catch that.
John Adams Gates, Benjamin Franklin
I'm,
Gates. How did you not
I,
catch? Man, you just suck at historical connection.
yeah.
You
I
claim
mean,
to
I
love this
guess.
movie, but the lie
Well,
detector determined that was a
I mean, I love the
lie.
movie, but man, just because I love the movie doesn't mean I'm going to catch everything. I mean, that is stuff that I
These
should have
are
caught.
basic
I mean,
things to catch.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
Anyway, Ian Howe is also named after a historical figure. Ian Howe is the same surname as, and was a direct reference back to not one but two high-ranking British military officials during the Revolutionary War.
Hmm.
So yet another little, like, if you know it, it's yet another little Easter egg of this is the bad guy versus the good guy, right? Like,
Right.
this is the person named after the American founding fathers. This is the person named after the British Empire.
Right. And going, into that a little bit more too. I love the way they were like, okay, so these are the good guys preparing, to rob or to steal the Declaration of Independence, and then they cut back
Yep.
to the bad guys preparing to steal the Declaration of Independence, and it's like, got the good guys over here, got my janitor suit, bad
Yeah.
guys, I got my 9mm
my-
and my C4.
Yeah. This was a part of the. This was a scene though I did want to key in on. Really cool thing. Like, that's a cool scene, right? They're cutting between the two. You're seeing the
Yep.
dramatically different methods that they're using. There's at one point in the cuts though, they show randomly, quote unquote, show the outside of this building on a river. Presumably, that's the building the bad guys are in, because they show you the bad guys, they show you the building, and then they kind of cut back to the bad guys. It's a quick blink and you'll miss it. That building is the Watergate Hotel.
Okay.
Watergate being famous for the Richard Nixon scandal.
Right.
So it was, again, just a little like fun stuff.
I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that little clip.
If I weren't
almost have to go back and watch it again.
If I weren't obsessed with Richard Nixon, I would not have got that either.
Oh my god. Yeah. So quickly, because we were talking about the budget, it looks like the budget for this film was $100 million, and then it looks like it brought in about 347.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
I'd take 250.
Not bad at all.
250. I wonder what Nicolas Cage got paid. Well, and that's always something that I'm curious, about is like how much, the actors and the film crew get paid, to make all these movies.
Well, the film crew probably doesn't get a lot. The actors,
Right.
depends.
You want experience? Why don't you come work on our set for free? No,
Nicolas Cage, like who knows? This would have been still when Nicolas Cage was, like, he was absolutely still kind of the butt of a lot of jokes, but he was still pretty like big of a box office draw, so he probably got a decent little payday. To do this movie.
So you say the butt of jokes. I'm curious because I never understood the meme, but what's up with all those little memes where they print out like Nicolas Cage like cutouts and then they like stick him in random places? Have you seen some of those memes? Because I've never understood those memes. And you've never.
I have no idea what you're talking about. There's a lot of Nicolas Cage memes out there that you could have tapped into that I could have told you about.
But not that
I've
one.
never heard of what you're talking about. I guess just because he's like, you got to think about it. I mean, maybe it's just a play on like where in the world is Nicolas Cage today, because you're talking about a dude that's done 102 movies. 102
It sounds
movies.
like a lot.
A man's been in a lot of movies.
So that is a lot. So how many movies do normal actors do?
Not that many.
Not that-
Well, and not that many over the course of like how long Nicolas Cage has been doing his career. So let's do name an actor, Dustin. Who's somebody you like?
Well, okay, so I'd be curious to see, how many movies he's been in versus RDJ, Robert Downey Jr. Because I feel like
69. RDJ has been in 69 movies.
What? And Nicolas Cage has been in what, 100?
At minimum 102, depending on how many, like, some of his smaller credits you want to count.
Twice as much.
Yeah.
Dang.
Damn near.
How did, is that just because he's that well known? Or is he just got that many connections and he's able to, like...
It's because it's Nick Cage and he does what he wants. You're talking about a guy that went bankrupt because he bought an island and then bought real live dinosaur bones to put in the castle that he had built on his island. And then got upset because he went bankrupt and he was like, well, it's my money manager's fault. Like, he didn't tell me what was going on. It's like, Nick.
What?
You don't know this story?
No.
Oh, it's like infamous. Like, Nicolas Cage legitimately bought an island. He had a castle either moved to or built on it, like an old school castle.
Those are both fair points.
Then bought a bunch of like legitimate, real live dinosaur bones and had them put into his castle.
This is a for real thing. This isn't just like some internet
through his yacht.
Internet.
No, like
spoof story.
This is all like public knowledge because it was all revoked when he went to fucking bankruptcy court.
So he doesn't have his island and his dinosaur bones and all that.
God no. So no, like
Damn.
you're talking about a guy. Nicolas Cage is someone who, like, some of the theories behind why he does so many movies, is because he's trying to make money because he's went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Another theory is like the dude, he just likes to act, and he does what he feels like.
I mean,
and so he just is like, screw it, I'll do whatever kind of, like, oh, a script, yeah, that one's, there's literally a College Humor sketch about being Nicolas Cage's agent.
Yeah.
And it's like how you can never like Nicolas Cage just takes the most absurd roles.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like one where he plays like somebody's like mustache. They're like, his agent's like, all right, Nick, they want to cast you as like this guy's mustache, and he's like, I think this is kind of a ridiculous role. And Nicolas Cage's like, let's do it. And then like, it's a hilarious sketch. Look it up on YouTube. College Humor, being Nicolas Cage's agent.
That's crazy. That's like actually crazy though. Huh. Well, I mean, I would say, from the movies that I've seen with Nick Cage in them, which I guess I've seen Con Air, National Treasure, obviously, Gone in 60 Seconds, another one of my favorites. I feel like I've seen a couple other movies with Nicolas Cage in them. Ghost Rider actually isn't one of those. I've never seen Ghost Rider.
Neither of the Ghost Riders, huh?
Yep, neither of them. But from the movies I've seen, I would say he usually looks like he's enjoying himself.
Nick Cage, that's the thing, is like, as much as people, again, like, he's the butt of a lot of people's jokes because he can be really over the top. He legitimately always looks like he's having a good time.
Yeah.
Like,
just
always.
In the role. Just throwing his little spin on it.
He's just like, I'm going to do what I feel like. And again, like, I stand by, I really think, like, him just being like, not that I think he doesn't try, but him very much just being like, I'm going to go be that kind of over-the-top, kooky guy. Like, he clearly has the historical precedence of, if he really wants to be, like, this super serious guy, like, he can turn it on. I think he just doesn't want to. I think he just doesn't care enough.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I am so excited to see Nicolas Cage and his upcoming awesome TV miniseries about Joe Exotic.
Oh, right. Right. I think you were telling me about that, which I was like, what?
Yeah, so super excited for that. But I mean, like, another one of my... You've seen Nicolas Cage in another movie, you just maybe didn't realize. One of my favorite roles of his recently, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
he
right.
voices
Yeah.
Spider-Man Noir, and it is
Spider-Man
amazing.
Noir. Yeah,
and there were
I've
so many
obviously
jokes
seen
when that movie came out, because there's the scene in Spider-Man Noir where, or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, where Noir Spider-Man is, like, holding a match, and he's talking about, like, do I do what I do because I care about people, or because life is just slowly burning down around me and I need to hold this match that's burning up so I can just feel something again. And everybody joked, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that wasn't a line. Nicolas Cage was just talking about his life. And the director went, "We got that on tape? Yeah, put it in."
Yep. You got a little too deep there. A little too deep. Wasn't just acting anymore.
Tapped into something real.
And real quick, I have to go back because I forgot to put this in my notes. I love the fact that when, they're sitting down in the Library of Congress talking about, they're getting ready to steal the Declaration, and Riley Poole is like, everyone's going to be there, everyone's around it. Little families from Iowa.
Little families from Iowa.
Shout out to Iowa, because I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, and I'm gonna, every movie we watch that has an Iowa reference in it, I'm drawing attention to it, because believe it or not, it happens more than you think.
It really does. Iowa gets name dropped a lot.
Way more than it
Kansas
should.
gets name dropped a lot too, but that's mostly in reference to the "we're not in Kansas anymore" line. So
yeah, that's not fair. It's not fair.
I take what I can get.
Yeah.
Right. But no, I definitely, like, I love anytime an Iowa shout. Obviously Iowa was my home for 7 years.
Yeah, man.
So anytime Iowa gets a shout out, I feel that. So
we miss you, John. We miss you. We'll take you back.
Well. No, that's all right. I kind of like where I'm at. So.
That's fair.
Maybe someday I'll come back, but that day is not today. All right, so kind of moving along here. So they plan the heist. They go in. They execute the heist. Ian crashes the party per se.
Yep. And it was set up so well, right? He had gotten a duplicate of the Declaration of Independence, and he'd given that to Abigail. He's like, "Hey, no, you take this.
Here, this is yours. Bye.
Just take this." Alarms are going off. He's just like, "Take it, go."
Yep.
And then, of course, Ian sees that, grabs her. Just grab the girl, right? Just
bring her with us. Yeah.
Just bring her here. And then, of course, we have the Speedy Car Chase, which is hilarious because it's a big Sprinter van, right, versus a food truck.
Yeah, it's
Speedy.
incredible. I love it.
Yeah.
It's
good. It's good. I was actually
it's a great little it's a great little moment to have in a movie that you don't necessarily expect to see.
Well, and I mean that kind
car
of
chase in.
It's funny that you brought up the James Bond reference earlier, with Ian or Sean Bean being the bad guy and then being the bad guy in some James Bond movies, because that whole scene, with the gala and everything.
He's the bad guy in one James Bond movie, and in a similar fashion to this movie, Sean Bean starts out as an ally to James, and then ends up becoming the bad guy.
It's funny because there's that reference, but you have Ben Gates walking in a tuxedo to the gala. I mean, obviously it's a gala, so he's got to have a tuxedo. But just everything kind of has that weird secret agent vibe, sort of, as it was going on. I felt like, but I thought it was interesting. They're chasing Ben Gates, or I should say, Ben and Riley are chasing Ian because they now have Abigail, right?
Abigail.
Right. And they're cutting to the inside of the food truck. And I'm like, where did they get this food truck? Because it had pots and pans banging around in there. And I'm like,
they definitely stole this food truck.
They stole a food truck? It's man.
They definitely just stole a food truck.
Some poor food truck vendor is out there looking for
without his truck.
Without his truck.
I hope he had insurance.
Right. Yeah. And then, after that, we get introduced to a new character, Agent Sadusky, played by Harvey Keitel, I believe. Yeah. Hopefully I didn't butcher his name.
Yeah, I think
and he's in other movies too, right? I didn't look up his full filmography.
Yes, he is.
I should say he's a well-known actor from other movies. I feel but I don't necessarily know.
He's kind of one of those guys that you recognize him when you see him, but you never can place him. You're like,
exactly. I was like, yeah, no,
he's that dude from that one movie.
Yep, exactly.
And then everybody's like, what movie? And then you're like, hold on. And then you pull out your phone, pull up IMDb, and then you start reading off.
Well, I mean, even now, can you say some of the other movies he's in?
Nope. Absolutely
Okay. Not. Okay. We gotta pull this up then, because I'm so.
I'm working on it here.
Okay, you work on it.
So he is in.
It's so hilarious.
And
he has some great lines too.
He does. So this is one that I definitely recognize. A lot of people will. He's in Reservoir Dogs. He's Mr. White. He's in Pulp Fiction. He's the wolf in that movie. You would recognize him from the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Okay. Wait, what does he play in that?
He is Ludwig. I've never actually
I'm gonna have to
seen
check
that movie.
Out.
I just know you have.
No, you've seen the Grand Budapest Hotel, didn't you?
Nope.
God damn it! It was just me and
it
Ashley.
Was you
Ashley
and yeah. Well, and I think
Jack.
I think Jack might have been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's again he is one of those him from things. It's just not very many people can think of. He was in Red Dragon. Oh, see, I didn't even remember that. That's a Hannibal movie. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, that's crazy.
He's in a lot of stuff, but he's definitely one of those guys that you see and you're like, oh, I know him. Why do I know him?
Right, and he had some great one-liners, right? The FBI is showing up at the gala finally, and they're like, okay, so did we open up a file? And they're like, you had the other FBI agent. He's like, nope. And he's like, well,
we didn't
why not?
Open a file. We didn't think it was credible.
Yeah, we didn't think it was credible. And he's like, well, how about now?
How about it now? Which also super funny line, but very much come on, man. Nobody. If some random dude shows up and is like, hey, these guys are gonna steal the Declaration of Independence because of an invisible map that is on. It's a multi-100-year-old document that has been examined repeatedly.
Yeah,
everybody's gonna be like,
it's fair.
Nah, you're just one of the you're a tinfoil hat wearing guy, huh? And especially if you're Nicolas Cage.
Right? Oh gosh. Well,
Nick Cage. Love Nick Cage.
I mean, especially too, I think they said like, oh, the FBI gets 10,000 tips a day or a week or something, right?
Crazy like that.
So
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably about right.
Yeah. No, they're not going to acknowledge that one.
Yeah. You know, I really didn't have very like watching it again. You know, like I can nitpick on some of the things throughout this movie, but there's just so much to love, and there's really hardly
There really
anything,
is.
right?
Yeah. No, there's a lot to love in that. In this movie. But you know, we get Abigail back. We move along. We got to go get the Silence Do Good letters, which is a throwback to the very beginning of the film, when they find the message. So they go
and there was also
to John Voight's house.
And there's also another before, I should say, in the planning stage. There's actually a scene where he has the copy of the Silence Do Good letters on his desk, right there.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's just another.
That we then later see when the FBI raid his place.
Yep. That we see later on. But
quick fun fact, little trivia about John Voight, if you didn't know this. He is Angelina Jolie's dad.
You know what? I didn't know that.
They had a really bad relationship for a long time. And then I think they kind of got better, and then due to some stuff that Angelina Jolie's dad has been involved in lately, I think they're back to not being on speaking terms.
Not being on speaking terms anymore. I mean, that's fair.
So,
okay. But yeah, no, we show up at
Papa Gates' house.
Papa Gates' house, and you know they're doing their thing, and you know this is one of those little critiques. As the movie goes on, they seem kind of like they care less and less about how they treat the Declaration of Independence. I don't know if you caught that. It's like at first it's like white gloves, gotta like, you know, barely touch it and all that kind of stuff, and then by the end it's
super
just like
careful.
I mean, not necessarily.
Yeah, then they're just like, all right, let me toss it over to you. All right, here we go.
Yeah, they're tossing it, they're touching it and rolling it with their hands later on. I mean, sure, they're trying to be careful, but I mean, But no, there's some great lines in there too. You know, about. Well, I mean, first off, like right when they show up at the door, he's, you know, looking at. I should say Patrick is looking at Ben, Riley, and Abigail, and he's like, "She pregnant?" And then it's like
her immediate response: "Do I look pregnant?
Am I fat?" Or right, exactly. Do I look pregnant? Obviously, she didn't look pregnant, but I mean, it's just hilarious. And then, you know, he had like a reference to like a whole long line of sons who disappoint their fathers. I believe Ben says.
Maybe that's the Gates family legacy: sons who disappoint their fathers.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, yeah. I'm just like.
Well, and so you know, we move on. We get to chasing down some more hints. We figure out the Silence Do Good letters. We end up at the Independence Hall. With the Liberty Bell and another like just a nitpick thing. Again, just a nitpick thing. But I'd be remiss if I didn't point it out. The way that the shadow, the clock tower thing,
is pointing at the brick wall,
would be so damn near impossible to make work, because even at 222, the sun's going to be slightly different variances based on the season it's in. So the shadow's going to be slightly different.
Yes.
Also, minor little changes, like in the amount of time it would have taken Ben Gates to get from the bell tower down there, like the shadow's going to be kind of moved. And then he digs this damn brick out. He digs this damn brick out with a pocket knife. Like, this brick has been in this wall for 200 plus years. Yeah. And you're going to break out, you know, the Swiss Army knife and sit there and look.
I always thought that was kind of weird too. But, you know, maybe they used like a specific type of devil's advocate masonry that just looked like masonry, but it just crumbled, you know? I don't know.
Then why wouldn't it crumble for over 200 years while it sat there dealing with weather?
Well, okay. So if we're gonna start nitpicking the little things, right? Right away in the beginning, they were like, okay, they're looking for the ship. It's completely under ice. They got their metal detectors out there and like, oh, I think we found something. Pulls out his water bottle, squirts it, and of course it just happens to be a bell or whatever that says Charlotte, the name of the ship.
Yeah, it's the
I call BS.
the plate.
I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, that's not the first thing you're gonna find, right?
No, definitely not.
No.
Especially because it doesn't really make sense for when they do show the way they dig out the ship, but we're way backtracking here.
That was another big, huge critique that I had with the movie when I was watching it. But yeah,
so
the shadow thing is a big thing, but which actually leads to another critique that I have. Around that time, I thought the movie started to slow down. And I mean, it's not actually slowing down that much, but I think it's just because the beginning was so action packed. And you can kind of get to this part where there isn't really a whole lot going on. It's just kind of okay.
Well, the movie starts trying to get too smart for itself.
Okay.
At that moment.
So what do you mean by that?
It tries to start okay, we need to continue to extrapolate these clues, but also we need to throw in some more wrenches right along the path.
Yeah.
And so it starts getting even more convoluted with the clues.
Mm-hmm.
And then how they're figuring out the clues becomes even more convoluted than it was before. And it's it literally, it feels like it has that slowdown because you go from okay, we found this thing. Okay, let's reason this out. X, Y, Z, now we know we have to do this, to, okay, we found this thing. We have no idea what this means. Oh, look, they showed up, so we can't figure out what it means. Oh, shit,
right.
Ben gets arrested, so what do we do?
Ben gets arrested, so now we got to figure that out.
And it's it kind of shoehorns in that extra character tension for that last leg of the film.
Yeah.
Because it felt like it needed it, and it probably honestly did. If this literally was A to B to C movie, it would have been over, probably an hour sooner, or 45 minutes sooner, right? They needed that extra time in there to really to hit runtime.
Right.
But
I now that I'm thinking about it, it does kind of make sense with Ben getting arrested and then having to go ask for Ian's help, right? And then they're kind of working together again. And obviously, Ian's not going to just let them go, right? That's not how this is going to work.
Probably not.
On that note, though, the way that they save, Nick Cage, Ben, from the FBI, going to the aircraft carrier and kind of setting that all up.
Yeah.
I looked and I couldn't find this information, so I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are. Ben ends up jumping off. Nick Cage ends up jumping off the aircraft carrier, right, to get away from the FBI. Do you think Nick Cage actually jumped off? Because when I was looking, I was so curious. I was like, okay, did he just do that?
I wouldn't be shocked.
Well, and the information that I was finding is, he tends to try to do his own stunts. So I'm like, okay, he could have done it. That's 60 stories. Or not 60 stories, 60 feet.
I was like, no, it is not.
60 feet.
I was like, that's a big-ass boat.
That's
no, fun fact, boat. Diane Kruger also did a lot of her own stunts, including the scene where she's being kidnapped. So,
really?
Anyway.
Okay, well, on that note, and I kind of was purposely doing this, John had a crush on Diane Kruger. Let's talk about this.
So much so. 1000% had a crush on her. I mean, she's a pretty blonde that's into American history and what's not to love? Her accent is great.
Right.
I love her accent, which is actually, so in the movie she says, her accent is from Sussex, Germany. She's actually from, I think it's South Sussex, Germany.
Okay.
In
so
another
actually
subdivision
kind of on
area.
Point.
So kind of on point. But yeah, no, I love Diane Kruger. I have since I've seen her in this movie. I love her in Inglourious Bastards. She's a great actress, true. Geez. Genuinely, a great actress. She doesn't, unfortunately, she doesn't seem to get a ton of stuff, or at least not a lot of mainstream stuff.
And see, that was the thing, is when I was looking at her filmography, I'm like, man, I feel like I've seen her in some other stuff, but I don't know. And I've only seen
Yeah.
Inglourious Bastard once, and I wasn't the biggest fan. I think she was in Troy.
She was.
I don't remember what she was in that, but
She was in the movie The Infiltrator. That's a good movie too.
haven't seen it. No, haven't seen that
It's a
one.
great Bryan Cranston film.
But yeah, no, I just thought it was really interesting that Nick Cage is able to do his own stunts like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
No,
It's
he's
awesome,
he's
but
he's
crazy.
dedicated to what he does. You know, he likes what he does.
So,
So, oh, go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
Yeah.
No, you go ahead.
No, I insist.
Nah. Honestly, I already forgot now. I forgot what I was going to go off to now.
Oh my God,
So-
you suck. So, a crazy, weird little fun fact about this movie too, and it's such a weird little thing to catch. And then, so I noticed it, and then I Googled it, ironically, for what I'm about to say, just to find out if it was in fact the case. And no idea why. They didn't like say why. But they did, like, it is like every time we see this happen on film, like this is the case. All of the good guys in the movie use Google. All of the bad guys in the movie exclusively use Yahoo. So
Oh my
I don't know
gosh.
what like issue Disney and Jerry Bruckheimer have with Yahoo, but they were like, we're gonna make sure all the bad guys use Yahoo answer.
I didn't notice that. I did not notice that.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you point that out because I thought it was really interesting because I remember the scene specifically when Ian was, trying to figure out the last word that the kid, got
Yeah.
for Riley, right? So he uses Yahoo to type in Stowe, and it immediately pulls up a picture of like the Liberty Bell or whatever, right?
Yep.
When you type that into Google or Yahoo, you do not get a picture of the Liberty Bell now.
Did you search exactly what he searched though?
Yeah, he just typed Stowe, capital S T O
No,
W,
he didn't.
right?
He searched Stowe and the Declaration of Independence.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Well, now I'm gonna have to do that.
And
again.
if you search, and I just did it, and if you search Stowe and the Declaration of Independence,
the
Liberty
Liberty
Bell
Bell.
comes up.
I thought he just typed in Stowe, but now that I'm thinking about it, I literally thought he just typed in Stowe, and then I didn't even pay attention after that. So
Yeah. Nope. He
whoops.
types Stowe and the Declaration of Independence. And
Well, that's
it pulls up-
awesome. That's
I'm
actually
pretty
awesome.
sure the exact same. Well, no, not the exact same page, but it pulls up a page of all about the Declaration or the Liberty Bell.
And I was so curious on whether or not it would actually pull that up. So that's great. That's awesome. If there's that
Does.
continuity.
It does.
But,
So they actually use the internet.
and back in 2004, it would have been the early days. Pretty early.
I mean, the internet would have been starting to hit its stride.
I don't think I had access to the internet in 2004, to be honest. If I was thinking, about it. My friends did. I barely.
I think
did.
I would have at that point. Yeah, I think I would have. Because I would have gotten access to the internet. Yeah, right around that time. So somewhere in that, like maybe 2004, 2005 era.
Yep. And kind of speaking about like that era, another thing that I noticed is I think almost everyone had a Motorola phone.
Yeah. R.I.P.
R.I.P. I mean,
I think they still make
phones.
movie
Yep,
or
they still make
phones,
phones, but after the Razor,
nobody uses them.
Yeah.
I don't know how they still. Maybe they still make them because they only had to make like 3 a year for their employees to use. But
it's a tough market to be in. This mobile. phone
not really.
market.
It's pretty much dominated by like 2 major companies.
Well, that's why I said it's a tough market to be in because it's dominated.
No, it's a non-existent market to be.
I mean,
You either have a Samsung, a Google, or an iPhone. That's it. Nobody cares. About
honestly,
the rest.
though, like you probably don't even have a Pixel or a Google Pixel.
Very few people.
Yeah, I would.
LG, like every
Yeah.
blue moon, LG will drop a big one that like gets a little traction and then they vanish again.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Yeah, actually, quick side note: have you seen the new LG Wing? I think it's the LG Wing.
No.
It's this crazy phone. So it looks like a normal smartphone, right? But then what you can do is you can kind of push in the corner and then flip part of the screen up. So then what it does is it basically flips up. So now it's in a T shape. So you have the full screen. You'll have to check it out, man. It's like
That sounds horrible.
the craziest thing. Well, I guess they were wanting to kind of compete with like these foldable phones, that Samsung and Microsoft are putting out.
What a freaking like retro comeback. What a
I mean,
comeback.
Yeah. Well,
shout out to foldable phones. Flip
Yeah.
phones are making their way back, baby.
I mean, kind of, yeah. Like really, but it's crazy. It's crazy. But
anyway, back to the movie.
back to National Treasure.
So yeah, so they get Ben Gates out. We move along.
Yeah.
We start figuring out the other keys.
Yeah.
We find out we got to go into this church. They desecrate a grave.
Yeah.
Make their way down. Good thing for Ben Gates and crew. That Ian is about as knowledgeable as you apparently on American history. Because they fool him with the 1 if by land, 2 if by sea lanterns.
I will say I knew that one. I knew that that he didn't come by.
Did you know it was 2 lanterns though? Did you remember?
Yeah, 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. Yeah. And it was a picture of one lantern. And I'm like, didn't he come by sea? I mean, even that is kind of like in itself like I guess he probably. I don't know. I don't want to make this assumption, but was he not from America? Is that why his character anyway?
No idea. Not a clue. Definitely should have known that though, especially because he's portrayed as such a smart character, a smart villain up to that point.
Yeah, and they really weren't selling the story. Like, no offense to like the acting, but like when Patrick Henry Gates was telling the story about 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, and then explaining why, like you need to go this way.
Connection to the Mason.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not buying it. Not buying it.
Yeah. It's little cool Easter egg in that scene though. So after they get rid of Ian.
Yep. He goes up.
They go back in. They're looking around for the secret entrance to the real treasure room.
Yep.
And, it ties it all the way back to the beginning of the film with the pipe being the puzzle piece to the key. So we talked about this briefly before this episode. Jerry Bruckheimer, like him and his crew that did this movie, they do a lot of movies together. Another like movie that a lot of people know Bruckheimer from Pirates of the Caribbean.
No. That's crazy.
So they actually, when you have to listen really close, and I'll admit, like I found this out on the internet years ago, and I did listen for it when I watched it for this episode. When he's putting the key in, the pipe piece in, they actually play some notes from the musical score for the original Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl.
Really?
As a nice little like cheeky throwback.
That's a really crazy Easter egg.
It is.
And for those of you who weren't quite sure who Jerry Bruckheimer is, he was one of the producers on this movie. And I guess you're saying he produced Pirates of the Caribbean, the first one anyway, right?
Yeah. All of them.
Oh, he did that. When I actually looked up his history, he did obviously this movie, Top Gun, and Con Air. Yeah. Yep. So again, just kind of like that connection to like everyone is kind of working on like the same movies as they go through time.
You find a group of people you enjoy working with, and that's who you keep bringing back.
Yeah,
like that's what happens.
Well, it just is surprising to me because like it's got to be across different studios, right?
No,
you don't think so?
Oh, yeah.
Like Disney Studios.
I was thinking like Pirates of the
Warner
Caribbean
Bros.
to this.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, no, like Con Air and all that. Yeah. Definitely by different studios.
It's just crazy. Well, and actually, speaking of that, I watched this movie on Disney Plus. I don't know if you watched.
That's right, I watched it.
You watched on Disney Plus too. Okay. Yeah. So if you haven't seen National Treasure, I would say, and I would highly suggest that you get a Disney Plus account, even if it's just for a month, and watch it on there. and then hell, even watch.
I think you can still get like a 7-day free trial. So
Really,
get yourself a free trial.
There you
Go check it out.
Go check it out.
Watch a bunch of other crap that's on there. There's a lot of good stuff. Wait until October. Get yourself a free trial. Watch The Mandalorian season 1 and season 2, and then watch this movie.
Yep.
And then decide if you want to keep your trial or not.
Yeah. No, The Mandalorian's great. I think it's actually just won a few Emmys, or it was nominated.
Just won a lot of or got nominated for a lot of stuff, or won a lot of stuff today, or
you're
this
right.
weekend or
right.
something.
That's what I saw.
It's crazy.
No, it's such a good show though, and like if you like cartoons, you should check out like DuckTales and any of the other Disney Channel originals. John wasn't a big fan. Another one that
I don't like the new DuckTales. If you're gonna watch DuckTales, watch the original.
Yeah, another great cartoon would be Gravity Falls, but yeah, no, tons of content on Disney Plus. It's totally worth it.
Yeah.
I don't even have cable. Don't think I've ever actually had cable.
If you have cable, you're doing things wrong in life. I'm just gonna say that for
cut that cord.
Cut the cord. Get the streaming services. It's worth it. You save money.
Oh hell yeah.
So we're kind of winding down on this movie.
I think so.
Shocker, they do find the treasure. They end up donating it all.
Whoa! Spoiler.
They get 1% for all of them.
Yeah.
Which
they offered him 10.
Exact math, but I looked it up. I don't remember the exact math. Riley, when he's complaining at the end of the movie about only getting 0.5%, right? He still would come up with something like $10 million or something. And had they accepted the 10%, it would have been something like $1 billion. So
that's what I would call an early retirement.
Yeah. Also, fun Easter egg. That's not like hidden at all. It's just if you got to pay attention to what he's saying. The house that Benjamin Gates and Abigail have was Carol, the old man from his grandfather's story that entrusted the first Gates guy with the story of where the treasure was and the clue. That's his house. He was the
from the
last
story?
owner of the estate. Yeah, from the story. The old man from the story that had the clue.
And I forgot who, how that story went down and who the characters were, right? I forgot about that. Yeah. But I did not catch that. That's a really cool Easter egg.
Yeah, because he starts to tell Riley, well, the reason I bought this out, and Riley's like, whatever, and drives off.
Drives off. Well, he tries to drive off, obviously.
He's really bad at it.
That looked like an automatic Ferrari, so this is totally
I didn't understand what they were doing. I'm like, Anywho's
Yeah.
So,
John, is there anything else that you want to mention about this movie, or is there anything that you absolutely loved or hated, before we sign off here?
I don't, I honestly can say, I don't know that I have anything else really just to say about it. It's a great movie. It's a fun time.
Fun
great cast. Family. Definitely, I think really truly inspired a lot of people of our generation to learn a little bit about history, except for you, apparently.
And
you get so much flack for this. It did stir a lot of controversy when it came out, because a bunch of people started going, what if there really is a map on the back of the Declaration of Independence?
Well, somehow I'm actually kind of surprised we managed to basically get through this whole episode was really going down like some Illuminati, Disney, crazy rabbit black hole.
Oh,
were you holding back, John? Are you holding back?
No, I think I've gone down, and I still, for somebody that will ardently throw out these stories and theories, I still obviously consume a ton of Disney's content, so it's not like it stopped me from doing so. But maybe on a different episode, we'll talk about some of the conspiracy theories that I have floating around about Disney.
We should. We definitely should.
I can't believe I've never shared any with you.
Oh, we've dabbled. We've dabbled.
We've dabbled.
But I mean,
There's a lot of fun conspiracies out there. Disney is evil, but they make great entertaining content, and it works. So
yeah. Well, and it's too easy with this movie too, because they're referencing the all-seeing eye on the back of the dollar bill. They're talking about the Freemasons, right?
It ties in so well. By the way, Disney, don't sue us. Disney, you're not evil. We love you. I won't retract my statements in the conspiracy theory video episode, but that's a different time. But no, this
Free
movie, it leans into it, and then obviously, it taps into a lot of things that are already based in conspiracy, like the Freemasons and all of that. And so of course it stirred that up, right? People were like, "Oh my god." I already thought, but what about if it's,
Right,
so.
right.
And my favorite way that, that type of thing gets rationalized, right, is, and it's a classic move on theory, these dark conspiracy theory things to go, well, the whole reason they made the movie is so that to hide the fact that it is true, because they made a movie about it to make you think it's ridiculous that it is true. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe you're right. I don't care.
Probably not.
I'm just here to enjoy a movie. I'm here to enjoy Nicolas Cage and all of his cheesy, hammy goodness. I'm here to enjoy Diane Kruger and all of her glorious beauty. Put on a great performance, and I'm here to see Christopher Plummer for all of 5 minutes, but it's worth it. And see Jon Voight be Jon Voight, which is a pissed off, grumpy old man. So,
hey, you can't. Riley Poole, Justin Bartha. You got to give him some credit.
He's a good time. He's a good time.
Gotta love that lovable tech sidekick character.
He's okay. He's okay. He's not my favorite character. I think when I was a kid, I liked him more. Watching it now, I actually found myself getting annoyed with him. Come on, Riley.
Come on, man.
Come on.
I mean, he does get on your nerves, and I think that's just a part of his character. I think he did well.
It is.
He did well.
So, what about you? Any other final thoughts or anything?
No, man. I enjoyed the movie, and I think if we're gonna let's just jump into the ratings. I would say I would probably give it a solid 8.5 out of 10.
Wow.
Oh man.
Wow.
I love the movie. And going back.
You really love the movie. Huh?
I mean, I do. I enjoy this way more than Sonic. That we just.
No, definitely. I think it's a great time. I think it's a fun movie. It's a smart enough movie. I think sometimes we look at it through rose-colored glasses and think it's smarter than it actually is.
Fair.
It is not. Again, I'm probably a little jaded here because now anytime it comes to these movies that are being really smart and laying the groundwork, I hold them to two standard bearers in my mind: Knives Out and Murder on the Orient Express. And this movie is neither of those. I will give it though. God, I wish I could remember off the top of my head what rating I gave Knives Out, because I definitely can't give this a higher rating than that. I'm gonna go with fair. Maybe I'm gonna upset some people with this. I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5.
Okay, yeah.
It's a half point better than Sonic. It's a good time. It's a smart movie. I really, really enjoy it, but I can't give it something that close to perfection.
And I mean, I gotta be honest, to our audience, we're still trying to figure out a rating system, so don't hold us to that.
Very true. Yeah, didn't we do 5 stars?
Yeah, I think we did.
I think we did 5 stars.
So honestly, maybe
I'm gonna go back right now. Then Knives Out review, since we've done the last 2 out of 10. I'm gonna give my Knives Out review. I don't remember what I think. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
Probably.
So I'm just gonna go ahead and slap a nice solid 9 out of 10 on that movie.
Me too. I'm gonna also give it a 9 out of 10. Man. Yeah, I think I'll give it a 9 out of 10 too. Yep.
So shout out Christopher Plummer, our connection for that. So but all right, man. Well,
I think that's a wrap. We'll
that's
see
a wrap.
You next time, guys.
Fun. we'll see you next time. Next time, I'm excited for
Oh,
because if it's not next time, it's the time
the
after
future.
that we're doing a scary movie.
Ah.
And so
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
this is gonna be good. This
Yep.
is gonna be good.
For those of
you
you
might
don't know, don't
you
do
might be
horror.
able to punt it one more week, but
Yeah, we're coming up on
that's
October.
it.
Yep.
Yeah, October is like
coming up.
this coming week or next week.
Yep.
Yeah, it's next week. So
Damn.
we're gonna make that happen. But
Yeah.
all right. Well,
Next time,
with
guys.
that, we're out of here.
Bye.